All right.
Margaret. Yes, hey. Hey.
Well, it is 6:30, so I'm going to mute everybody and we'll begin. And as we've come the new tradition at the end, we will open it up for more conversation and questions. Feel free to use the chat box to ask questions, comments. I'll make sure Petra and Don get them. And so, yeah, Bob is not with us today, but he may be able to join us later on. We'll see what happens. So here we go. So I'm like moderating and also watching everything. So bear with me.
Okay. Bear with us all.
Exactly.
Was your baby? I hope the baby.
He is in a park playing. Is all good. Yeah. You know. Oh, he's giving me quite some lessons on the happiness. You know, I sure named him right.
All right. So I'd like to first say thank you so much for everyone joining us. Hey, Hal, I just saw you. Petra is our special guest today. I will allow her to make her own introduction. I think her story is fascinating, and she would like to begin with the universal greeting. So I'm going to open up the gallery and let you begin. I'm muting myself.
Thank you, Yael. Well, thank you for having me and welcome everybody. Thank you, Don, for even introducing this wonderful thing that we are now about to talk about. To say it simplest, I'm just someone who's been blown away by all this. It really touched my heart, and that's why I took it so close to me, and it means very much to me, and I'm just happy that I can give all I can so more people can learn MEM Gong Yoga of Holistic Resonance. It's a wonderful thing, and I truly believe it's a tool to consciousness shifting. But let's start. Let's go a step back, or not the back, and let's just welcome everybody with the universal greeting. And I figured let's do it in a different way, make a little something of a kriya of it. So if you're all ready, we're gonna just go with it. Just give me a second so I can share this. So, as I see everybody here is familiar with the universal greetings hand gestures. So that will come as no trouble and will make it flow easier. So let's take these hand gestures now as mudras. And imagine your hands, your arms, being an extension of your heart. And allow your hands and these mudras to express your heart. So come to a seated position. Be comfortable, but have your back straight. And palms resting on your legs. See if there is any tension left in your body. And shake it or stretch it out. And just tune in with your body and into this space. Beautiful. And become aware of your spine. Connect it to your breath. Inhaling cool air up your spine and exhaling warm currents down. Keep breathing slow, soft, long and deep. And invite the softness in with a smile. Allow that smile to soften you and to open you even more. And throughout this session, if not instructed otherwise, keep coming back to this breath and to your heart and to your spine. Now keep breathing. Cool air up your spine on the inhale and exhale warm current. Keep breathing. With an inhale, bring your arms up above your head and exhale them down in front of your chest. Inhale them up, exhale them down. Just wave them from your shoulders. Inhale up, exhale down.
I offer you peace.
Keep going.
I offer you peace.
Keep going. If you feel the tension on your shoulders, just smile through it. Keep going. Inhale up, exhale down.
I offer you peace.
Inhale deep, hold the breath in, but keep going. Exhale, all the air out, hold it out, keep going. Inhale deep and settle into mudra. And keep breathing.
I offer you peace.
I offer you peace. Breathe into it. Beautiful. Inhale deep. Dance your arms above your head. Exhale it down. And dance however you feel is good right now. Inhale deep, hold the breath in, and exhale into friendship. I offer you friendship.
I offer you friendship.
Hold the mudra. Breathe into it and feel it. Keep breathing up and down your spine, passing through the heart. I offer you friendship. Inhale, bring your palms over your heart and breathe into it.
I offer you
Exhale into
love.
I offer you. Keep breathing. Move into
I
your
hear.
inner. hear your needs. Keep breathing. Keep feeling. Keep smiling. Welcoming. And dance into the I see you.
I see your beauty.
I see it. Inhale deep. Spread the arms. Hold the breath in. Pull the energy out. Exhale.
I feel your feelings.
I feel your feelings. And breathe into this mudra. Feel this mudra. I feel your feelings. Keep breathing. Inhale deep. Exhale all the air out. Hold it out and pull the energy out. Inhale deep. Exhale and allow the mudra to melt away. And just dance into the all wisdom flows from the highest source. And change arms. All wisdom flows from the highest. Keep going from one to another. Feel the movement. Feel the energy. All wisdom from the highest source. Keep going. All wisdom flows from the highest source.
All highest.
Inhale and settle to hold the mudra. Exhale. Pull the energy up. Inhale.
I honor that source in you.
Bring it to the heart. I honor that source.
That's good.
Give it a smile. Keep breathing. Inhale.
Let us work together.
Let us work together. And with breath, release the mudra.
You are my own true self,
You are my own true self.
and I am your another self.
Inhale and wave the arms up and wave them down. And keep moving from your shoulders, up and down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Beautiful. Keep going. In Lakesh Halakim. Inhale deep, hold the breath in, but keep going. Exhale all the air out, hold it out, keep going. Inhale deep, spread the arms wide. Exhale to hug. Inhale, open. Exhale to hold. Inhale, open. Exhale to hold. Inhale, open. Hold the breath in. Pull the energy up. Exhale and wiggle your fingers coming together
We
into
are
we
one.
are one. Breathe into it. Inhale deep, hold the breath in, pull the energy up. Exhale all the air out, hold it out, pull the energy up. Inhale deep. Exhale, long, soft.
Namaste.
Inhale into Namaste. Exhale all the air out, hold the breath out, pull the energy up. Inhale deep and exhale into so be it. Inhale deep, spread your arms above your head. Pull up for the last time and ta to relax completely and come to stillness. And when you're ready, come back again.
Oh. Mm.
Okay. When I first entered the training with Don, it was a MEM Gong Yoga training in Slovenia, a first one of that extent. Some 8 years ago, I had no yoga or gong background. I was very much into music, but this was my gateway into the gong world. And, well, I can easily say that it was life-changing. Well, at first I didn't know what hit me until I found myself constantly referring, after the training I was, back to life and constantly was like, ooh, isolate this, isolate that, include the breath in, this has, it makes a lot of sense. And just my whole awareness of everything became heightened. So long story short, to me, my journey with MEM Gong Yoga of holistic resonance is simply such a powerful journey into presence. And I find it very important as this presence as a tool for world peace, for inner peace, and for world peace. And of course, it covers everything in between. In a way, I could go on forever. But I'm gonna pass the word to Master Don, who created it, to just introduce it to us in his words, and then I'll come back and tell you more about my experiencing of it as a student and as a just person. So Don, please.
Okay, thank you so much. That was the best. I just Loved it so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Origins are interesting. When I was a young boy, I hadn't gone to high school yet. I was just in central school, and I had a mysterious friend of the family who was a weaver, a ballroom dancer. He had one eye. He was a good friend of the family. Uh, Gave me a book. It was like, I was like 12 years old, and it was autobiography of a yogi. A very early edition of the book. Yogananda was still alive at that time. And as a young boy, I read that book and became so inspired. I said, "Well, when I grow up, I want to be a yogi." That was it. Um, so after high school, I was, we had a lot of hunting dogs in our backyard. My dad was a hunter and a fisherman, and they were all dead now. So I was breaking up the houses that the dogs lived in and making it into firewood. And one day I was chopping like this here. I just graduated high school, didn't know what to do. And I held my arms up like that. And I heard a voice about as loud as you could imagine inside of my head. And it said, Donald, go inside, get your belongings, and leave home. I had never thought about leaving home before, but that voice was so strong inside of me. I went inside the house, packed up all my books. I had a lot of books, took them to the highway, and began to hitchhike. And I didn't know where I was going. And so somebody picked me up right away, and they said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "St. Louis." That was about 7 miles away, and they took me to the bus stop. And I got out of the car, went into the bus. I gave them, I only had $100 or so. I said, "Where will this take me?" And the teller said to me, "You could go to Los Angeles with that much money." That's where I want to go, because that's where Yogananda was. So I got on the bus and I went to Los Angeles. And I arrived in Los Angeles, went through my adventures as a 17-year-old. And then finally I went to Self-Realization Fellowship to meet Paramahansa Yogananda, and I found out that he had gone into Mahasamadhi 6 months earlier. I didn't know that. And I said, "Oh no." So I had to then study and take my Kriya initiation with his predecessor. And that was fine. And so that was the first yoga that I did. It was not called Kundalini Yoga. It was called Kriya Yoga. To do, Kriya means to do. And Kriya also means completion. Uh, so I did that. And the purpose of that, Kriya, was to burn out the karmas and the sanskaras in your blood and in the memory of your cells, so that you wouldn't have to be reborn again, that you would so be liberated. You'd be like Yogananda. He just left his body at the end and went into Mahasamadhi. Uh, so he had been doing this, what we call the Babaji breath. It was given to his lineage through Babaji Krishna. It was the Babaji breath. And what you do is that the breath that Petra gave us was taking the energy up and down the spine like this. I won't go into all the details of the breath, but so it was so that you were not being held back by unfinished business. So later on, as an actor in Hollywood and a director, and I was enjoying the theater world, and one day I was doing a film. It was in the heyday. We had long hairs were all, there were thousands of them in Los Angeles at that time. The Flower Children. And after I had a break in the film I was working on, and I went over and I met a gentleman, and that gentleman told me, he said, "Don, I just met a wonderful yogi. would you like to go to yoga class? I said, oh yeah, I would. So I went with my a new friend to Yogi Bhajan's Kundalini yoga class that I think was 1968. And he told us that he came to teach us all the secrets of all the yogis that had kept the secret private, and for money, of course, for people to come to study with them, and that he had gone through a big trial, that he was going to give all these secrets out to people free. That's it. So everybody knows it. And that because he was breaking this law, that he was going to be very sick and that he might die. And that what he needed to do was to have 5 of his students be ready to take over in case he should die. So he secretly talked to 5 of us, and we didn't know each other. But then he didn't die. He lived, and he went on, and he began to teach Kundalini Kriyas, and hundreds of them, I think. And but he didn't tell us the secret of how to put the Kriyas together to take you to Samadhi. So I wondered what to do that. Well, anyway, after my tenure was up and I had created over 108 yoga teachers for him, I left, and the final day, he says, Baba Don, at that time my name was Guru Jagat, he says, I want you to teach your own yoga now, but do not call it Kundalini Yoga, because I have trademarked that name now. You have to call it something else. So I said, yes, sir. I didn't know what he was talking about. Well, some years went by, and I realized that he wanted me to teach people
It's 7
how
o'clock.
to make a Kriya, the rules of the road to make a completed Kriya to take you to Samadhi. And so that's how Gong Yoga came about. It is a combination. He never got to China, of course, but Chinese medicine was very important. So I combined kinesiology, Dr. Deal and Dr. Goodhart. I studied with them in Arizona for a while to learn kinesiology. And so I've combined the kinesiology with the Kundalini Yoga together. It's a meeting of the East and the West, and it follows the chi around the clock. And so it teaches people how to create their own sequences of exercises to achieve the result, the consequence at the end. And I decided to call it Gong Yoga back then because it takes only 30 seconds to a minute and a half when you go to play your gong. I noticed you have a Chiron gong behind you. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's a sign I'm a Virgo, so it's the sign of Virgo. But so I began to teach this to people, how to do a completed Kriya, to be able to go through all the 8 limbs of yoga and reach this point of Samadhi at the end of the Kriya of peace and of balance, so that the innate intelligence, the 24-hour repair intelligence, might very quickly, without the resistance of your ego, that immediately it would happen just like when you approach the gong and begin to play it and you're not there anymore. You see, the gong has washed you away, and now who are you there playing? So that takes only a minute and a half at the most before we reach that state. And then the gong pours its vibrations into our systems. And so we're able to fulfill an ancient fiat, which is healer, heal thyself first. Well, look at us now. All of us, are we not wounded healers? So the Gong Yoga was to be able to heal the healers so they can better heal or be conduits for the healing energies to go out to the world. So, in a nutshell, I'm sorry to speak so long, but that's what occurred. And then I began to share it. And so now that everybody in the Aquarian age now can create their own Kundalini Kriya, and they don't need a teacher because it makes them a teacher. And you have to become your own teacher if you want to help teach others to be their teachers. So the process is we are fulfilling it. I thank him very much for making me do this. I don't know why, but I did it. And now it's in really good hands. Petra has it. Now I can relax.
Not just yet, Don.
So, okay, so that's it in a nutshell. So there are some rules of the road, of course, how to do it. They're quite simple. So how about me throwing it back to you?
Okay. Thank you, Don. Yeah, just like you said, well, for me it was just a very deep experience, taking me on all the levels in a very, short time. And it just very time appropriate. It's fast and it's
Mm.
very effective and it takes you there and it actually puts the responsibility for yourself into your own hands. You know, you collect again your strings that you kind of thrown away for some reason, that we've all been doing that, and it brings you into your presence. It brings you into a very deep awareness. And with practice, I've noticed that this awareness becomes larger and larger and larger. And all of a sudden, this multitasking becomes very, well, not effortless, but easier. And you are very present in everything. And that's what it comes in layers, of course, MEM Gong Yoga. But you layer that in, and you layer this in, and the movement and the body. You're all of a sudden you become aware of everything that you are, or pretty much, or a lot that you are, and it just works. And for me, the beauty of it was that it gives you the freedom. That freedom for me is such a powerful thing. It loosens the structures, it breaks free from the structure, it offers it, and the more you have it down, the more you can grow on it, and the more you can feel that freedom. And then the creativity kicks in, and you can include into creating your own kriya, you can include everything that you are. Everything. And you find yourself, singing again. You find yourself creating affirmations. And you find yourself walking down the street and just creating a kriya just like that. So it brings you, with practice, it brings you back to yourself, and it enhances your intuition. And then intuitively, when something doesn't feel right, you bring in the breath, you bring in the positive affirmation, you bring in a different kind of understanding. That's how I feel it. Mm. And when you do that, when you're in that complete presence, there's nothing else could come from you but love and peace. That's why I say, for me, it's the ultimate, the ultimate level is just peace. It really makes you vibrant like a resonant gong. And the more you practice it, the more you feel it, the more you feel it, the more you know it. And yeah, it'll stay with you. No movement will ever be the same. No singing, no gonging, no washing dishes, no yoga, no dancing will ever be the same. That's how it was. That's how it is for me. Yeah, it's, oh, I love it.
But of course, I love it as well, and because we have a saying, "Be your own grandma" for a woman, and for boys, "Be your own grandpa." Grandma and grandpa were our teachers. They were our gurus. They, they had the wisdom that passed on to the grandchildren. However, as you know, we were in so much war on this planet, and so many people killing each other, which we were like viruses attacking each other, that we didn't have the ability to be with grandma and grandpa or what, or they died. So we didn't get the wisdom. And of course, mama and papa were too busy to do it. And so we got teachers like Petra or somebody else who's going to give us the wisdom. So this, I think, is the thing that we do, is that we have to become our own guru now. You have to be your own grandma and your own grandpa. And then you have to think about, okay, I'm a grandma now or a grandpa. What do I do with my grandness today? And so the idea, the fiat or the directive is very clear. You must teach people to teach people to teach people to teach people to share with people, to tell them to share. Do not hold it into yourself, but as much as you can in the next few years before 2025, let's everybody feel that they are now their own teacher, and begin to work on themselves so that we can change the reptilian nature, the territorial nature of humanity, and so that we can work together like a gong in functional harmony with your family, your children, everybody. So behind the scenes, I suppose that gong is working through us in a way. What do you think?
I definitely agree.
You know, I feel it very strongly now. We are an unstoppable force that as the gongs are spreading so much around the world and our gong makers can't keep up with the demand is so great, the gongs are spreading like a good virus would spread. You see, the same rules apply to us as the rules apply to the virus. So it's a question that for me is a very interesting thing for us players, is that this virus started in Wuhan, China, where the Wuhan gongs are made. Very interesting how that began. Now, uh, we are like, we say, viruses or parasites. They both go together like viruses and parasites. So we're kind of like a virus and a parasite on Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. We're behaving like that. We're destroying our host. Viruses like that, they take great pleasure in destroying their host. So I think what's going on is the writing's on the wall now that we must stop this type of activity as quickly as possible so that mm, uh, the viruses are not wiped out, including us on Earth, because of our misuse of our love and our care. Uh, so I think we're going through a big quantum leap, and the gong creates this great quantum shift in ourselves to get rid of that parasite and bring in a fresh energy of healing. I don't know, maybe maybe you might have different ideas about why, what's going on, what's coming down in the world today, and begin to think very much better of yourselves, that you have chosen yourself to be a part of this movement to bring everybody away from the territorial and all that stuff that's destroying Mama Gaia. So that's what I think is going on. I think because when are we supposed to get this all straightened out to turn the ray that's been used for warfare and conquest into a working together ray, the green ray, the fourth ray, and that it's that energy, according to what we've been told by some of our teachers, is that it's going to open up real wide now in 2025, and that so that gives us a little inspiration. Oh, so all the gong players in the world now that are expanding, and we're doing all around the world gongs together. Oh, it's so wonderful. What effect is that having on the consciousness of the whole? Mm-hmm. Anyway, I feel okay, but this is about Gong Yoga.
Well, it is Gong Yoga as well.
Isn't it not?
Doing
Yeah.
MEM Gong Yoga is like playing yourself as a gong
Mm.
in a way. And it is one of the tools to come to oneness. And like you said, this time for me as well, it just means it feels like a huge shift is happening. And every time when there's a shift happening, there's a lot of turbulence and shaking, and a lot of things need to be shed. And but like I said, more than ever before, I feel a sense of oneness. And
Well, after doing what you did, the Kriya that you created from the Universal Agreement, after you doing that, I can't tell you how much effect it had upon me, in just doing it like that. The creativity, the risen kundalini in your consciousness, that that creative consciousness now is an inspiration to me. You know, if it happens to one person, it can happen to everybody in this Aquarian age. So what goes around comes around. So we are kind of like the good virus, yeah, the virus of happiness and selfless service, the virus of wanting to create a beautiful home for the children of the future. I think that this is what's happening now. That maybe I'm wrong, but I am hopeful. Uh, so, how do you do Gong Yoga? Maybe you could share with us some of the principles of how.
yeah, well, it's very easy on the first glance, but once you dive in, it's so in general, the exercises last from 30 to 90 seconds, and it is connected. It works 39 muscles that are connected to meridians, and they they hold specific emotional and physical patterns that you can work on through. So from this aspect, you can always self-diagnose and just, when you know it, create yourself a Kriya, like we already discussed. And this is like in a nutshell. And it's very hard not to dive even deeper to this because that takes time and we only have about 15 minutes more. But I have to say that very shortly we will have an online training the module 1 training ready, and there you can dive in very deeply. But yes, the basic idea is that you work on whatever condition or challenge you're facing. You're working through a specific muscle, adding a breath, adding the yoga locks, adding affirmation, and a lot more. And you work that muscle, you work that meridian, and you work that to transform that, whatever challenge you're working on. Would you add something, Don? Would you like to?
Yes. Uh, you know, when you get to my age, anytime you hear anything, you're learning something. It's new. So, but it is that. It's to be able to cleanse and eliminate the blockages, or we call it karmas and samskaras in yoga, that's standing in the way of you and the destiny. Well, what is destiny? Well, it's the greatest good. So in your life, I know as a child, I was always, what can I do in this world? And if you follow the line of least resistance, greatest strength, greatest beauty, yeah, greatest information, you're following the path of what we call phi. Phi is the Fibonacci ratio, which is the energy that comes out of the gong, comes out according to a universal mathematical formula called phi. And this phi ratio, the entire universe that we know of, is built upon this phi ratio. From insects to humans to solar systems to galaxies, the phi ratio is the thing. And what comes out of the Guru Gong here, we call it the greatest teacher, is this phi energy. And when the phi energy comes into your aura, into your body, and all of that, it is remembering or reawakening the memory of the consciousness of the cells of your body to become their most resonant beingness. So we say it sort of stops the aging process in that way. Like all of a sudden you're in the eternity of the moment. In that eternity of the moment, that's when the innate intelligence can superconducting repair the aging or unnatural aging process of the body. It can repair the emotional negativity of the person. It's like a miracle, and we don't quite understand how it works, but we get a pretty good idea that's turning us into a gong. Anyway, that's enough. I don't want to take your time, but you asked me.
But well, please take our time. It sounds good. And based on that, me and wonderful Tim Byford here, we have him, we created and tried the 24-hour MEM Gong Yoga Puja.
Really? That's the first time I heard anybody ever do that.
Yeah, we have 2 more people here that experienced it
Really?
and
Tell me.
also co-created it. There's Alexandra and Margaret. Who else? I think, no? Yeah, that's us here. And it's just that. It's when you go through a cycle like that, it's like you're born in a new reality, shifted. Maybe we can hear Tim's experience on it and how he experienced. Well, the idea came to me through my giving birth experience, because it lasted for 27 hours.
Oh.
And it was woohoo. But just the sense, I have Gong Yoga to thank for it, but the sense of presence and just holding the space was so powerful and life-changing for me. that, you know, when I revisit, I say, oh my God, but holding the space for 24 hours and going through the chi clock, you know, and working the meridian where its highest tide is or its lowest. You know, of course, you can do a number of things again, but just going through it, working on the initial intention is just such a powerful engine and a life-changing experience. That's how I feel. What do you have to say, Tim?
Yeah, the engine being the word, this working all the way through a 24-hour cycle and doing it, applying the sense of creativity, of playfulness, of love, of awareness, of detail, of community, and doing everything with that with that sense, like acts as a creative engine and spins you into a reality that includes all the qualities that you imbue that 24 hours with. Yeah, incredibly powerful. And I think when Don was talking about creativity, the Kundalini rising, and Gong Yoga being a way to access that creativity and create spontaneous kriyas of beauty, and of course the Gong and our Gong practice is doing that for us too. That I just see this incredible flowering of different Gong forms happening, and I really see the 24-hour Gong Yoga Puja as being another one of these, like the Gong Puja and the Gong Bath, another thing that we can offer people that is a profound and beautiful experience to help transform the world, as well as all the experimenting with online and creating what I'm calling digital Gong art theatre, and then Don and Bob's work with Theatre of the Soul. That we are flowering all these amazing forms, and with the root of them being that beauty is the greatest healer, and that and if we do everything with this sense of presence and this sense of this geometric form, which is another thing that we haven't talked about in terms of this is another element of Gong Yoga, that it teaches you how to build kriyas that honor the sacred geometry that weaves through everything. And yeah, it you know, it's the yoga of holistic resonance, which when we find that in ourselves, it helps us find that our place within the holistic resonance of the whole human family, and that's what we're all on a journey to do. So yeah, big thumbs up for the 24-hour, and we're going to do an online one
Yeah.
coming soon.
Yes.
So yeah, it's exciting.
It is very exciting. Yeah, and it's still so fresh, and it's like a baby coming out, and we're still learning how to really, but it is about facilitating, and then we wish to teach people to teach, and so that we have as many of these kind of events as possible, live and online, and wherever we can go, however we can go further. Mm,
How much time do we have left?
Well,
yes.
we have 5 minutes left.
Okay,
So
so we
you
have
want
to.
to open it up to any questions right now, or would you like to close off? First of all, does anyone, I'm looking around to see any raised hands. Everyone's just kind of still smiling from our
I was
initial.
hoping maybe we could, Tim and Petra could do a shruti to them. That would be really Oh, the cat's meow.
Okay.
Ask and ye shall receive. I see Tim.
He's already looking for the instruments.
Oh.
What do you need, Tim?
I need nothing.
Of course. Which one?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just gonna follow you now.
Place this away from my microphone.
Yeah.
Inhale deep.
Go inhale deep, sorry.
And exhale all the air out. Inhale deep. And exhale all the air out. So Alice A. Bailey said that the music of the future will be based around one chord. And I don't know whether you've ever really listened to your Shruti. Really, really listened to it. And even if you only have two holes open, you can hear the interplay and the pulsing of all the overtones that are being generated by those two tones. And even before you begin to sing, you can lose yourself in the beauty of the harmonic series that is revealing itself to us through just this simple chord. Oh, yes, we are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Oh yes, we are the ones. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And there's no time now for playing small. 'Cause we are the ones we've been waiting for.
There's no time for playing.
I bow to the teacher in me, the great guru that resides within us all.
The guru that resides.
For we are the ones
We are the one
we've been waiting for.
we've been waiting.
So may we work together
May we work together
like one resounding gong.
like one resounding.
Oh yes, let's work together.
Oh yes, let's work together.
Like one resounding gong.
Like one.
And let us play together.
Let us play together.
With everyone singing their own song.
With everyone singing their own song.
And we merge together.
And we merge together.
Like one resounding gong.
Like one resounding gong.
Oh yes, we are one, we are one.
We are one,
We are one, we are one.
we are one.
One body,
One,
one heart,
one,
one humanity.
one. We are one. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, squeaky chair.
That was one of my, it might be my favorite gong talk that we've had yet.
Thank you.
So thank you. Don, our time is up. Will you leave us with a word or a sound?
Well, I don't know what to say after that. It was so nice, Petra, and Tim, for you sharing with us. I'm very, very, very happy. And I would say we have a special thing that we say is we say, Gongalooya.
Gongalooya.
Anyway,